He's the director of the Clark Planetarium. It's Seth Jarvis. Welcome to the show, sir.
Great to be back.
Great to have you here, especially when we're coming upon something so important this doesn't happen very often. Let's just say that.
No, eclipses happen all over the world, but an eclipse in any one place in your neighborhood is the sort of thing that is oftentimes thought of as a once-in-a-lifetime.
Wow. Yeah, so this is going to be big, and this just happens to fall on the first day of school for many counties, particularly.
It's a challenge.
Right, and we've got people who I've heard are trying to make the trip to better viewing areas the day of, and then maybe coming back the next day, or trying to come up and back down. It's going to be a little tough.
What I want people to be aware of is, first of all, it's going to be 91% coverage along the Wasatch Front. So if you can't go up into Idaho, Wyoming, by all means, prepare to see it down here.
Yeah.
It'll be cool. But if you have friends or relatives up in the Rexburg, Rigby, Idaho area, or somewhere around Jackson Hole, and they're not already booked up with all of their friends and relatives that they never knew they had, you should try and get up there. But one thing I don't want people to do is, please don't think that because it's a 4-hour drive to Rexburg, Idaho, all you got to do is get up at 6 in the morning and hit the road.
Not going to work.
Because
like
there's
that.
going to be a million other people with the same idea. Plan to wake up the morning of the eclipse wherever it is you want to be.
Yeah.
Pretend you're going on safari. Load your car as though there's no gas stations, no restaurants. Basically, I don't want to be apocalyptic, but don't be thinking that you're going to pull into a McDonald's or a Maverick, because there's a million other people with the same idea.
Yeah, I don't think people quite grasp how serious this can be for people who are really into it, and there's a lot of people really into it. I think of maybe a good example is a launch at NASA, where the roads come to a complete stop.
Parking
People
lots.
park on the side of the road or on the road and watch. This is going to feel like that in a lot of ways.
This is going to be bigger. It's nationwide. It's coast to coast. This is called the Great American Eclipse because the moon's shadow only touches land on the United States. So from Oregon to South Carolina for about 90 minutes, the moon's shadow is tearing across the country at 1,600 miles an hour. But if you get up in the center line, then for about 2 minutes, 20 seconds, depending on where you are, the sun goes dark. The stars come out. You see the solar aurora.
Yeah, and here's the actual map right now.
Yeah, that's the drive shed. So the yellow line is the path of totality. But notice that all those colors, those are not rivers. Those are the paths of the freeway system. And you'll notice that I-15 is sort of draining Southern California. I-25 is draining Arizona, Colorado. That's 9 million people just there. So plan on the traffic being really bad. The smart thing to do is to arrive a couple of days early. I'm not making this up. Don't think you're going to leave the morning of. At a minimum, leave a day early, because you might be surprised at where you get stuck.
Man, that is amazing. All right, I'm excited. Now let's assume that we found the perfect place and we don't get skunked by clouds. Right? Because that's another part of this. We have to look at the weather coming into this.
Astronomy is great for teaching patience and humility.
Yeah.
And if, for example, it is cloudy that morning, down in Salt Lake City, the Clark Planetarium is going to be live streaming the eclipse from other places in both the IMAX Theater and the Dome Theater. So if you're down at the Gateway wanting to watch it with us and it's cloudy, we'll bring you inside and put it on the IMAX.
Okay. Now, if you are outside, this is the most critical piece of information we're going to give you. Yeah, protect your eyes.
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
It's never okay to look at the sun without proper eye protection.
Even when it's behind that moon.
Well, if you're in the path of totality for those 2 minutes, then it's safe. But anything else, it's not. And since we won't get it down here in Utah, you've got to always protect your eyes. The simplest thing to do is a cheap set of $2 eclipse glasses, put them on. That's the only way to look at the sun. Another favorite of mine is shade 14 welder's plates, the thing that arc welding do. It has to be 14. This is actually my favorite. I think this is the best looking view. Crystal clear, big screen, very convenient. Shade 14 welder's plate. Shade 14 has to be 14 or nothing. Not a 10 and a 4, not 2 7s. 14.
14.
Right. Okay. At the planetarium, we sell all of the filters that go in front of your telescopes.
Oh, nice. I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, and then
that's perfect. You can do this in front of your camera as well.
We sell the filters that go on to most camera lenses.
Perfect.
Or you can slip on these filters over your binoculars. We carry them for most size binoculars, and that way you can look right up at the sun safely. But it's very important that you protect your eyes, because your eyes don't feel pain when you're hurting them, and
Right.
so people aren't aware of the fact that they're causing vision loss. So
Yeah, they think it might be temporary and it could be permanent.
yeah, sometimes you recover, but sometimes you don't. So protect your eyes, but don't let the fact that you have to prepare for it prevent you from seeing this really once-in-a-lifetime celestial event. Now, there will be some other eclipses. There's going to be a gorgeous total eclipse coming through Utah in 2045.
Well, I hope I make it to
Yeah,
that one.
but that's kind of the time frame
Wow.
of what you're wanting to pay attention to.
man.
So this is going to be a big one.
And the last one was like 20 years ago, right? Isn't that right?
1979.
79?
Yeah, so that was the
longer than I
the
thought.
last total eclipse, and that was just clipping the northwestern states. That was Washington and Montana.
Yeah.
That eclipsed.
Yeah,
it.
we had a little bit here
Right.
you could see.
And
I
there's going to
remember
be
it.
an eclipse going from Texas to the eastern seaboard in 2025. But the point is, for this one, this is the Great American Eclipse. Coast to coast, this is America's eclipse. And prepare for it, arrive early if you can, and by the way, hotels, motels along the center line,
Already gone.
good luck with that.
Yeah.
Hopefully you have a friend or a relative willing to let you crash in their front lawn that they haven't already
your
rented
tent,
out.
right?
Yeah, people are doing Airbnb at a crazy rate on this right now. But get some inexpensive, $2 glasses, $10 welder's plates. You can spend more. You can spend less. Just make a pinhole camera. Hit the clarkplanetarium.org
Right.
website, and you can see instructions on how to make things with cardboard boxes and pieces of paper. If we don't have the right filters for your camera, your binoculars, we'll sell you a sheet of the stuff and scotch tape and cardboard and scissors, and you're making your own filters. So there's no
Nothing wrong with that
excuse to
idea.
not have this stuff.
All right, can I take for a minute, because as exciting as this is, there's a lot of other things that have been happening lately that I want to talk about for a minute. And I suppose I'm just sort of tossing these to you, so let's see what I'm sure you're up to speed though. A man built a telescope out in Tooele. Now this was completely home built idea, is that right?
He's a truck driver. It's the
driver.
largest amateur telescope ever built. It has the diameter of the objective of the mirror is like 70 or 72 inches. It's just
Wow.
enormous. They had to build a complete. This is the Salt Lake Astronomical Society, and they've got it's actually Stansbury Park. They have an observatory complex. But this thing is the most honkin' huge thing you can imagine, and the view from it. I've not yet looked through it. I'm looking forward to going out there one of these times. But yeah, this is an instrument that would make research astronomers professionally weep to see these things. But nope, this is just a guy that was really passionate about it, and they built the rig. And the folks from the Astronomical Society and just the amateur enthusiasts out at Stansbury Park have just pulled miracles to make this thing. It's a monster.
It's really cool.
It's
when you
really
think about this guy, he's been working on it for years and years.
This is the realization of some person's passion and dream and dedication and years and years and years, and a lot of volunteers. The people from the Salt Lake Astronomical Society who came together, volunteered their time. They're pouring concrete, they're digging ditches, they're framing and shoring and doing amazing stuff.
Now this will be open to the public for a little while, and then, as I understand it, there's a period where it won't be.
They've got their own plans for it. So the best way to find out about that is to just look up Salt Lake Astronomical Society, hit their webpage, and they'll have all about it.
All right, very cool. What other things should we be watching for right now in space news? There's lots of stuff happening, of course, with SpaceX and all the different
the cool
vehicles,
thing,
what have you.
The thing that I think is worth mentioning, because we're so consumed by the solar eclipse, which we should be. I mean, it deserves to be the #1 thing. The planet Saturn is right now at its maximum tilt. The rings are tilted way down at their absolute maximum.
So you can see it pretty good.
And Saturn is about as close to Earth as it ever gets. So Saturn at opposition and with the rings tilted at maximum means Saturn, that beautiful kind of butterscotch colored thing in the southeastern sky these days after sunset, it is an incredible target for small telescopes. This is also the end of the line for the Cassini spacecraft. So Cassini has been orbiting Saturn for years now, and now they're going to intentionally throw it into the planet and burn it up so that it doesn't accidentally contaminate some of Saturn's moons, which might be a place where life could be. So you want complete biological discipline. So you make Cassini commit suicide by diving into Saturn to keep Saturn sterile and untouched by human microbes.
Because no matter how clean we were, There's stuff on it.
There are terrestrial microbes on Cassini right now, I will guarantee you. And what we've learned is that microbes can survive for a ridiculously long period of time in outer space.
We could theoretically be putting life on a planet.
You
if we're not careful.
you don't want to be accidentally contaminating Saturn's moon Titan or Enceladus or some of these other fascinating worlds where they're chemically interesting enough that you go, we shouldn't mess with that and we should let nature take its course. It may take them 1 billion years, but let's not muck it up for them.
Now these views as it goes in on the crash course is
Closer
going to
and
be
closer
amazing,
and closer.
right?
So you've got Saturn as it spirals in, getting ready to commit suicide in Saturn. It is, of course, taking the most astonishing images and capturing the most incredible data because now it's diving in and out of Saturn's rings. Another cool thing is the Juno spacecraft is orbiting Jupiter.
Right.
This spacecraft has to be hardened against radiation like a bank vault because Jupiter is such a dangerous place. But Juno is hardcore enough that it can zoom way down close to Jupiter and take these pictures. And now we're looking like inside Jupiter's red spot and seeing what an incredibly complicated weather system that is.
We're getting through all of those clouds of gases and things that are on that planet.
Mostly it's just the radiation. Jupiter is a place where no matter what it is you want to kill it, if you want to kill anything, send it to Jupiter. The radiation environment around Jupiter is completely lethal to pretty much everything.
How long did it take these two spacecraft to get in position? This is
years and years and years. Sometimes they have to get gravity assists from the Earth, or they have to make a loop around the sun. It takes a lot of energy to fling these things way out into the solar system, and so sometimes the most energy efficient way to do it is to take a really long time doing it and letting other planets' gravity sort of do snap the whip and fling you on your way.
But that's some impressive math to get to that point, right?
Very smart people have been doing a lot of number crunching.
Yeah, I'll say. I've tried to talk to some of those guys. They need interpreters. They've got some complex language.
It's like that Grateful Dead song, knowing more and more about less and less.
For sure.
Or thinking more and more about less and less. But they have to. So, and then everybody remembers that the New Horizons spacecraft that we all got excited about seeing Pluto a couple of years ago, it's on its way now to another Pluto-like world,
even
farther out. And so now we're getting ready to explore what's called the third realm of the solar system, something that people never imagined existed, but that is the population of objects orbiting the sun beyond Neptune and Pluto.
Right. We may not have the number of planets we thought we had, right?
Well, you got
because we've already decommissioned one.
You've got to change your definition, because if Pluto is a planet, then the solar system has thousands of planets.
Right.
On the other hand, if Pluto is not a planet, then we have 8 classical planets and thousands of dwarfs or icy bodies or something else that makes more sense to call them that. So, but what is this previously unknown third realm of the solar system? Well, now we're finding out.
Wow. Now, there was a little bit of excitement. We have about 2 minutes left. I want to talk about this. There was some excitement about some celestial objects that were looking to be a lot closer to us than we had hoped, and maybe even collision course.
Asteroids.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute.
The solar system is like an elementary school playground at recess. There's a lot of hitting going on. And what we're learning is that there's stuff out there whizzing by us all the time. We are dodging bullets and not knowing how many we are. We had a couple of wake-up calls in 2013 where you had that asteroid blaze away over Russia on the same day that another asteroid got between Earth and its weather satellites, a bigger one. So now there are more and more of these near-Earth asteroids, or sometimes they're called potentially hazardous asteroids. That's the catchword. And as we get better at spotting them, we realize how many more there are. So if you come to the planetarium, we've got a game you can play by waving your hands around, and it's called Defend the Earth, and you can employ various technologies and techniques for deflecting asteroids, because different asteroids require different modes of defense, but they're all real, and they're all things that people have to think about.
We are actually thinking about this right now.
Seriously,
we don't.
Seriously.
It could be a life-ending event, couldn't it?
The dinosaurs did not have the benefit of a space program. We do. Put 2 and 2 together.
Wow. Seth, I want to thank you as always for this is a fascinating conversation. I could talk to you for an
prepare
hour.
For the big thing is the eclipse, and plan to go early, and you can get all of the stuff on the planetarium website, especially those.
Yeah, and they've run out before, so you want to get on it.
Yeah, but anyway, I hope people will pay attention to this, but above all, prepare and leave early, or if you're going to stick around here, make sure you have the right stuff to protect your eyes.
Indeed. ClarkPlanetarium.org, is that right?
Exactly, ClarkPlanetarium.org.
So check that out, of course, and make sure that you participate in one of the, well, it's an event of your lifetime. It's America's Eclipse. You want to make sure that you're properly prepared, you get there in time, and of course, we're all hoping for really good weather, so you want to stay tuned to the Mountain Morning Show to see how things are looking for that. Thanks to Seth Jarvis. Make sure you get down to the Clark Planetarium if you have any questions or need to get your gear established and ready for that event. We'll see you tomorrow on the Mountain Morning Show. Until then, please get outside.